All right, welcome back. So, in our last couple of explainers, we took a journey through AI's past, right? But today, well, today we're living in its present. It's a revolution that's happening in real time, all around us. We're talking about the current wave, a world being totally rewritten by generative AI, large language models, and, this incredible intelligence built on just mountains and mountains of data.
So, just as a super quick recap, you'll remember the first wave was all about logic, right? Think of early AI like a really strict recipe book. It was programmed by humans with these hand-coded rules, and it only knew exactly what we told it to know. Nothing more, nothing less.
And then, of course, came the second wave. This is where we got those expert systems. And look, they were brilliant, but only in these super narrow fields, like playing chess. The big problem? They couldn't really learn or scale easily. I mean, they were totally limited by whatever human expertise you could painstakingly program into them. And that was a major bottleneck.
Which, of course, brings us to today. And the AI we see all around us now is just fundamentally different. It learns, it creates, it can even hold a conversation. So the big question is, what's actually powering this massive, massive shift? What's the engine behind this revolution? Okay, let's get into it.
All right, Section 1, the new AI engine. So, what really makes this new generation of AI tick? Well, it turns out it wasn't just one single thing. It was more like a perfect storm of three major forces all colliding at the exact right time.
And it really, truly was a perfect storm. First up, you had this absolute deluge of data. I mean, the explosion of the internet gave us these unfathomable amounts of text, images, and video, basically the fuel for modern AI. Second, we got the muscle. We're talking unprecedented compute power, especially from specialized hardware like GPUs that provided the raw horsepower to actually process all that data. And then third, the brains of the operation, major algorithmic breakthroughs that could finally, harness all that data and all that power together.
And the absolute key to those algorithmic breakthroughs? It's a term you've probably heard a lot, deep learning. Now, if there's one phrase to remember here, it's automatically learn. See, instead of humans having to painstakingly define every single feature, like this is a whisker, this is an ear, these multi-layered neural networks could just look at raw data, like a million cat pictures, and figure out the important patterns all by themselves. That was a game changer.
Okay, Section 2, revolutionary leaps and milestones. So, with this new engine, the data, the compute, the algorithms, all in place, the pace of change just went into overdrive. A few really key moments in just the last decade or so turned all that potential into the reality we're all experiencing today.
And I mean, the acceleration was just breathtaking. It really kicked off in 2012. A model called AlexNet basically gave AI the ability to see and identify objects and images with stunning accuracy for the first time. It was a huge leap. Then, just 5 years later, in 2017, the transformer architecture completely changed the game for language. It allowed AI to understand the context of entire sentences, not just piecing words together. And that laid the groundwork for 2022, when ChatGPT packaged all of that power into a simple chat window that anybody could use, making advanced AI a household name almost overnight.
So, Section 3 is all about the architects of AI. Because, this technology doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It doesn't build itself. So let's take a look at the actual people and the organizations who really architected this new world we're living in.
So first, you have to talk about the academic pioneers. We're talking about researchers like Geoffrey Hinton, Yann LeCun, and Yoshua Bengio. These guys are often called the godfathers of deep learning because they stuck with these ideas for decades, even when no one else believed in them. And their foundational work is what everything else is built on. Then you have someone like Ian Goodfellow, who in 2014 invented something called GANs. The idea is brilliant. You essentially pit two AIs against each other. One is a creator and one is a critic, and together they learn to generate incredibly realistic new content. It was a huge leap forward.
And then, of course, you have the industry titans who took that academic research and scaled it for the entire world. You've got OpenAI, who obviously gave us ChatGPT. You have DeepMind, now part of Google, who created AlphaFold, an incredible AI that solved major biological puzzles. You can't forget NVIDIA, which built the essential hardware, the chips that power this entire revolution. And now you have companies like Anthropic, who are really pushing the boundaries on AI safety research. It's a whole ecosystem.
Okay, Section 4, AI is everywhere. And this is the crucial part, right? Because this technology didn't just stay in the research lab. It is now completely woven into the fabric of our daily lives, a lot of times in ways we don't even notice.
I mean, just look at healthcare. The impact here is absolutely profound. AI is helping radiologists spot diseases earlier and more accurately in medical scans. It's dramatically accelerating the discovery of new drugs. And that thing I mentioned, DeepMind's AlphaFold, it literally solved the decades-old grand challenge of protein folding. I mean, that's a breakthrough that could completely revolutionize how we design and create new medicines. Just incredible.
And it's not just serious science. It's also reshaping your entertainment and how we think about creativity. You know those personalized recommendations you get on Netflix or Spotify that are just creepily good? Yep, that's AI learning your tastes. And now, it's going a step further. Tools like Midjourney and Runway are putting the power to generate stunning art and even video directly into our hands. It's a whole new creative medium.
And of course, where there's this much change, there's a massive economic footprint. Let's just talk about money for a second. The projected revenues for just 2025 are staggering. We're looking at OpenAI potentially hitting nearly $13 billion, and a company like Anthropic over $2 billion. So let's be clear, this isn't some niche tech market anymore. This is a global economic force.
All right, final section, the horizon, or the next wave of intelligence. As powerful as this current wave is, history tells us it won't last forever. So, what comes next? Where is all of this tech actually heading?
You know, if you look at the history of AI, you can really start to see a pattern emerge. We went from symbolic AI to expert systems, and now we're smack in the middle of the generative AI wave. Most experts predict this current era will last until about 2030, and after that, well, the focus is expected to shift pretty dramatically once again.
And that next frontier, by all accounts, is autonomous AI. And what that means is we're talking about AI agents that don't just respond to a prompt or create an image. We're talking about systems that can reason, that can plan, and that can actually take actions in the digital and maybe even physical worlds to achieve complex goals all on their own.
And that leaves us with a really critical question for the future, doesn't it? We're on the verge of moving from an AI that's basically a very powerful tool to an AI that could become a genuine collaborator. So the question we all have to think about is, how are we going to partner with these new forms of intelligence to tackle our world's biggest challenges? You know, everything from climate change to curing disease. That is the story that's yet to be written.